Hello and welcome to another edition of today's challenge. And we have just a little note here from the book Divergent. And we are actually almost ready to complete chapter 1. That's right, we've done so many challenges that we pretty much read all of chapter 1. So here we go. We have a few more sentences here that we can diagram. And as always, we're going to begin with just dividing it based on punctuations. So here is a comma, then there's the end of the comma, there's another comma, there's a period, another period, another period, there's another comma right here, here is a period, and there's a period at the end. So the first sentence is quite divided and punctuated, and then we have what I think is resembling our previous challenge from yesterday, where you see a whole this narrative strategy on creating a very dramatic sequence of events. So a very short thing happens, period, and then another thing happens, period, and another thing has happened, period. Anyways, we'll get a little bit more into it as soon as we start diagramming it. So now that we have everything nicely divided, let us look at the subject and predicate. So over here, we do not see a subject or a predicate. So you know what? Let's leave that for now and move on here. Now, I can see it on this first part, but just to keep things simple, let's go with this. Next is very easy here. We have a subject that we can find is he, and snaps is the predicate, and then we have this and right here. Okay, and what we find in this punctuation is the author put a comma right after snaps. And it technically, from the Oxford comma perspective, this does not need to be there. Remember that if you have a comma followed by an and, you have to have an express subject in front of your predicate. And as you can see, this is a predicate, continues. And then we have the subject of this continues is he. So this comma is not needed. And if we could see what the author was thinking, we could probably say, hey, maybe this is an error in punctuation. But again, in narrative, sometimes you can get away with things like this, and that is perfectly okay. But, just because a book is written and edited doesn't mean that, little things like this don't get caught. So there we go. Next, let's go to our subject, which is cheeks. And again, we want to keep in mind that my, mine, yours, are all possessives, right? So even though sometimes you may feel that this is your subject, that's actually a possessive. And we have warm, okay, as our predicate. Then we have another subject, I. And then we have a predicate, get up and dust. Now you see over here, we have an and just like above, no comma needed because the subject is expressed in this predicate. A few people. Okay, so we don't want to circle few. That's an adjective. This is our subject, people. What do they do? Predicate, stopped. All right. But there's the conjunction here. None. Okay, there's our subject. And another partitive genitive, remember we talked about this in previous lessons, telling us what part of a whole this is, and that means out of all of them, none. And there's my predicate, offered. And then we have eyes. Again, we don't want to say there, that is a possessive, okay? So eyes, and let me just circle that possessive since we already identified it. And follow, okay? And that's it. So what we did was we circled only the subject and predicates we recognized, and everything else we were kind of leaving till the very end. So now that we've done that, let's go to the first part in the quotations here and see where we can find our subject. So as you could see, out of my way, it is a command. Okay, so remember we've met the imperatives. Imperatives simply give command to something, and here is the person that's being commanded. Of course, it's an insult, and that's stiff. So you could say the subject of the command is right here, stiff. And out is technically the verb. Remember, English sometimes does not show you the predicate right away because out of is a preposition. But what's implied and not written is get. Okay, so get out of my way. And this is two things. First, we can take this, now that we see a get, the preposition out of, and then way would be the object of the prepositions. I'm going to circle both options. And my is a possessive. Okay, but because get is not here, we can take this as a predicate or the command. We understand it. So that's the first component of this sentence. Second one is an idiom, and I'm going to write this down over here. Okay, idiom. Idioms are expressions that have an accepted meaning, but grammatically or literally incorrect. Whoops, misspelled that here. Incorrect. Right. So we have to ensure that when we're looking at idioms, so out of my way is one idiom. Set sail is another idiom. Okay, because set sail means to literally set the sails on a boat, not to sail the oceans physically. So you got to pay attention to idiomatic expressions, which are idioms, and we have to pay attention to sometimes English will leave out verbs or predicates because the expression, the idiomatic expression itself, tells you that it's a command. So he snaps, easy, continues. Now remember that continues is a verb of motion, so it's not going to take a direct object. Then the next thing here is preposition, down. Down what? The hallway, and that's the object of preposition. Then my cheeks warm, that was done. I get up and dust. What do I dust? Myself. And how do I dust myself? I dust off. Okay, that's an adverb, in case you didn't know. Okay, so to dust off is to dust, predicate, and then how you dust it is dust off. A few people stopped, and then we have when. All right. Okay, so when is, once again, another temporal adverb right there, introducing a temporal clause. Okay, temporal clause, if you remember from our previous lessons, talk about time when something happened, and you can interject that. So a few people stopped is one idea, and then when, it tells us the temporal sense. What happened? When did it happen? And it takes its own subject, which is right here, I, and its own predicate, which is fell. But none, partitive genitive, of them, possessive, offered, okay? And then we could say offered help, but in this case, the author decided to provide us with an object infinitive. Okay, object infinitives are direct objects of their verbs. So offer to help, and then they take their own objects. Who do they want to help? Me. Okay, or in this case, didn't want to help. Their eyes follow. What do they follow? They follow me. Where do they follow me? And there's the preposition to. Object of the preposition, and then we have another partitive genitive or possessive of the hallway. Okay, so who possesses the edge? The hallway possesses the edge. And that's pretty much it for our noun cases. And then we're going to do our verbs. Just set that font up here. So we have get, that would be second person singular imperative for the first part. Remember, imperative is a command, okay? He snaps, third person singular. It's present, it's simple, and it's active because it can take direct objects, and it's indicative. And continues is pretty much the same thing, so third person singular. Cheeks warm. Okay, so that would be third person plural this time because it's both cheeks. It's present. It's present. It's simple, active, and it is indicative. Is it? Right? I mean, what is being warmed? The cheeks. Okay, so this is actually a passive. Okay, indicative, not an active indicative. Because the action is being done to the cheeks, which are the subject of the sentence. Remember, all passive verbs act upon the subject, and in this case, there it is. Next, we got up. So I get up. That's a first person singular. Present, simple, active, indicative, and dust. So that's 2 times person. A few people stopped. So people, I know you want to say that it's plural, but people is plural in meaning, but singular in form. Okay, so people stopped is a past tense. What kind of past? Well, how many times did they stop? They stopped once. Do we know exactly when they stopped? We don't, except we inserted here the when. Okay, so this would be an imperfect. So third person singular, imperfect, it's simple, it's active, and it's indicative. Then we have I fell, so that would be first person singular, another imperfect, another simple, another active, and another indicative. Wow, we have a lot of verbs today. And none offered. None offered, in other words, again, third person singular, imperfect. To help is just an infinitive, no need to worry about that. And eyes follow me, so that's plural, third person plural, present, and it's active. Okay, so we can take this one and just turn the passive into active. And that's it. So we got 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 verbs, and what seemed to be a very, very short quote from the book Divergent. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching and learning and following with these lessons and following with these sentence diagramming. I'm hoping it's helping your writing. I'm hoping it's getting you guys to become more and more aware of how sentences are structured and how you can implement that into your own writing. And good luck with everything, guys. Take care, and don't forget that the Comprehension 4.0 is due on Friday. Anyways, take care, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.